Okay, today we're doing a deep dive into some really powerful insights from the Nobel Peace Prize-winning journalist Maria Ressa.
Yeah, we've looked at her recent observations on politics, the digital world, and honestly, some of it is pretty chilling.
Right, so our mission here is to give you the shortcut to her analysis, specifically the parallels she sees.
These parallels between authoritarian moves she saw firsthand in the Philippines and, well, what she observes happening now in the U.S., it's uncanny.
It really is. And here's the core question for you. This is a journalist who had, was it 11 arrest warrants?
11 in just over a year for doing her job, for reporting.
Exactly. So why is she looking at Western democracy now and basically saying, look, I tried to warn you?
Well, she talks about it feeling like deja vu and PTSD. And you have to remember, the Philippine Constitution, it was actually modeled directly on the U.S. system.
3 branches, co-equal.
Right. The whole structure. But then former President Duterte came in, and Ressa says he managed to, well, collapse those institutions in about 6 months.
6 months. That speed is just, it's terrifying. It makes you ask, how could a system we think of as robust, like in the U.S., seem just as vulnerable?
Well, Ressa points to an identical pattern, a playbook, really. Step 1, you get a powerful executive.
Okay.
Step 2, a legislature that doesn't check that power. Maybe it's inaction, maybe it's, even quiet compliance. Doesn't really matter how.
The check isn't happening.
Exactly. And then step 3, and this is crucial according to Ressa, targeting individual judges, individual justices, making it almost impossible for the rule of law to actually function.
And she talks about the speed again there, right? With the U.S. example, something about executive orders.
Yeah, she noted the previous administration used 143 executive orders. That's a tool to rapidly reshape things, bypass the usual channels.
So if the political system itself can be bent that quickly, is it just politics? Or is there something else accelerating it, like technology?
That's precisely the connection Ressa makes. She argues, quite forcefully, that you simply cannot have the rule of law if you don't have shared facts.
Then without facts.
Right. And she sees the definition of free speech itself being twisted. Redefined to mean basically speech that supports the leader. Anything else is attacked.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, talking about tech. There was that Cambridge Analytica whistleblower.
Yes. This is a key detail. The whistleblower revealed they tested tactics, mass manipulation tactics, specifically in the Philippines first.
Why there?
Because, at the time, Filipinos spent more time on social media than anyone else globally. It was the perfect test kitchen. If a tactic worked there...
They'd port it to the U.S. That's the quote, right? Ported it to yours.
Exactly. It explains the mechanism. Ressa has this term for the result. Ultra-processed speech.
Like ultra-processed food, but for information.
Precisely. It's not just spin or a bit of bias. It's designing the algorithms, the whole system, so that lies actually travel faster. Much faster.
There was that MIT study, wasn't there? Something like 6 times faster.
At least 6 times faster, according to that 2018 study. Lies structurally outperform truth.
And this whole structure, she says it's laced with fear, anger, hate. It plays on our quick emotional reactions, our fast thinking.
Exploiting that human tendency. She calls it insidious manipulation. It's designed to short-circuit critical thought, make you react emotionally.
And the end game, the democratic election of illiberal leaders, which kind of puts that VDEM statistic into context.
Yeah, the varieties of democracy number is stark. 72% of the world's population now living under some form of authoritarian rule. 72%.
Yeah. So, wow. Given all of that, what's the takeaway? Is it hopeless?
No, Ressa is very clear on this. She says this isn't apocalypse. That means the end. She calls it Armageddon.
Meaning the battle.
The battle, exactly. It's a moment of choice. She stresses we have to choose to fight peacefully by insisting on facts, telling the truth persistently.
And her own story shows that persistence matters. I mean, she still needs court permission just to travel, right?
Yes, she still has to ask the Philippine Supreme Court. But the man who started it all for her, Duterte, he was arrested earlier this year.
Right, arrested in The Hague, facing charges for alleged crimes against humanity. So the fight does continue.
Absolutely. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you to chew on.
Okay.
If these tactics, these math manipulation methods, can be tested in one place and then exported globally to consolidate political power, how long before that same dictator's playbook gets used everywhere? Not just by governments, but maybe by any institution wanting us to stop thinking critically and just accept their version of facts.